welcome one and all here to Maryland Racing at the lovely Laurel Park. Keith Fusel with me, of course, our Acrobates chart caller. You picked up a couple of things yesterday throughout the races yesterday, Keith.
Well, I thought the track played fair for the most part, but I was just visually impressed with a couple performances yesterday. Let's start. I'll start with speediness off the return. You know, quoted, I guess, Jamie Ness, maybe not quite 100%.
Yeah.
Man, got to the lead, took some pressure, and then kicked away to hold sway with a 93 buyer. I thought feeling woozy, who shadowed speediness the whole way around the racetrack, ran huge. And what about the 2-year-old debut from Miss Notion for Phil Capuano, Mopo Racing? You see Dale Cap down in the winner's circle.
Yeah.
That was good to see. We talked about it on the show. You know how that combination, Mopo and a Capuano, add them up and you get victories. And a 1:10.3 final time. Now, I adjusted that. That was I hand time every race up there, and we had some little thing, I think, with a tracker or whatever.
Yeah.
I said, this doesn't jive right when I looked at, what the time. So it is correct, 110.65, 76 buyer figure for Miss Notion, that 2-year-old filly. And you want to compare that to, like, the Maryland Million Lassie?
Yeah.
Winning buyer was a 68.
Okay.
That filly was very professional yesterday. Great job. Nice ride by Thais Laia Pistina. Just didn't do too much. Did the right things. And man, got in a good rhythm with that filly. And she just kept on going. I think moved away quite well the last 70 yards.
And that's kind of the thing with some of these riders that are developing. It's just learning how to kind of stay out of their way. Again, as you mentioned, nice to see Dale Capuano come in back for a visit here at Laurel. Of course, the track is fast. You mentioned playing very fair yesterday here. A little windy out there, and it's probably going to be a little bit brisk until we get to about 3 o'clock today.
Yeah, well, we got the sun shining, so that's all good. Come on out and enjoy it. Might wake you up a little bit. Get out there in that little cool weather with a little bit of a breeze. But I like this card. That's probably a bad thing from a betting perspective. I've got some shots today. We will take them.
Yep.
Let's kick it off in the opener.
Good call yesterday on feeling woozy. You and I both had them underneath in our selections yesterday. Starts the early pick 5 though. We're gonna get my attention span back here for today's card. Starts in this claiming 7,500, going a mile and an eighth on the dirt for the 3-year-olds, and up scratching was a late scratch in the 1. Evidently, but we don't.
No scratch.
No scratch. I was thinking of a different race. Excuse me, Keith. You go with the number 2 on top. An eye on the candy, 12-1 for Diane Marici. Tori Alba here gets the call.
Maybe a touch of a reach, but you know what? We're inside. We got to go a mile and an eighth, so that longer run into the first turn. But eye on the candy, kind of a dismal performance last time out at the mile distance. Sat in position. They went a little quick, faded. Looking at this field comparatively, I think he can get the jump early. If he's aggressively handled by Tori Alba into the first turn, then maybe kind of be able to pump the brakes a little bit down through the backstretch run. And if he clears and relaxes, I think he can go a long way. You saw it on the go back, 4 or 5 races back on the page at Pimlico, beating the likes of Entrust. A little bit of an in-and-outer. I'll take the shot at a price. The horse to beat definitely is going to be the 6, Galatians, this dropper. Like the old Alka-Seltzer commercial, right? Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief this drop could be, right? Now, going back, it's before your time, Callie. But, no, Galatians, look at the company this guy's face. In the Dance, Catalea Strike, Mosler Time. You know, even his, like, B-minus race can kind of put him into the mix. His figs still work. Had a little bit of trouble last time out around the first turn. So, back to the condition today. Gets the condition, I should say. You know, he should be making a nice progression into it. I'd say by the time they leave the 3/8 pole, and Loom's definitely the one to beat and the one that kind of my top selection is going to have to hold off. Dare Devite certainly works. This 3-horse taking early money. It's very early, but 'tis speedy in very good form for Tony Aguirre Jr. Right? It's TJ, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, this horse – sharp win last time out at Penn National. Makes the Laurel debut. Let's see if these things can translate. But I like the spot this one's going to get because I think he could take up a stalking spot in this opener.
Agreed there. 2-6-8-3 for Keith Fusel there in the early pick 5, that first leg. Let's talk about the early pick 4, though. You've got a ticket for us, Keith. No single here. 18 ducks, though.
Yeah. Hit yesterday and lost $4. That's the way to do it, Keith. Good job. Really, really good. No, let's go with this early pick 4. 2 deep. Yes, 1-7 kick starting us. There's Ness right back at you. Omar coming. Race 3, 2 deep as well with the 5 and the 7. 3 deep in race 4 and 5. We race 4, we go 2, 5, 8. Later scratch 7. Pit stop man is out along with the 10 Shanghai Warrior. And race 5, 2, 5, 6 Fun Loving Criminal B West. 20-1 morning line. There's your value in the 6. He's on fire. $18 early pick 4 ticket.
Starts into claiming 20,000 for the 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 3, going a mile and 16th on the turf or in the dirt. Scratches in the 1A coupled entry Levin and the number 11 AE Ghostly Prince. You have the number 7 on top. Omar coming here in the barn of Rudy Sanchez Solomon. Angel Cruz. Let's take a look at that last dirt effort 2 back here on the 5th of October.
Well, we've seen this guy run okay, turf to dirt, and this start was not the best. Okay, we're going to see this again, off slow, in between horses, maybe the slightest of steadies. This is a race also involving Kickstartness on October the 5th, where Kickstartness was able to kind of go out and nurse. Look at Omar coming. Now, under a drive was caught 3 and 4 wide basically every step of the way. Kickstartness went kind of quick, 23 and 1, 47 and 1, the 12 and 4. Diving inside is Omar. This guy was dead game, just going to have this rally fall just short. Turf last time out with some trouble. Interesting move that was back to the turf off of that try 3 races back. A little question mark for me why, but might pick his head right back up and getting to the main track. Road goes through Kickstartness. Your top selection could have something to say about that.
Right.
That's Formula Fair. It looks to be that kind of hounding type and might just keep going today for a barn that's rolling the last 30 days. We showed a stat yesterday for Hugh McMahon. What a hard man for dead. Yes, works. Kind of a steady grinding type. I think the last couple, he's gone up, up, and up, even maybe a little bit more positional than lately, making a little quicker run into contention. He's sharp right now. I'll use this one in the mix, 7-1-3-2. If you use the 3, you kind of use the 2. Similar styles, they match up on the go back.
Love your top selection. And Omar coming, getting a second win from that effort last on the dirt. As we go ahead to race number 3 in the maiden special way, going 3/4 of a mile on the dirt. For the girls, 3 to 5. You go with the number 7 on top. In Soundbite on the outside for Michael Trombetta, Horacio Caramanos. Bit of a different, coming off of the layoff, could see this one potentially coming back into that early dirt form that we saw in its career.
We're going to need to. We're definitely going to need to with a couple of these other horses in here. It's mainly the 5, Alani, the 4, Phantasmical, certainly looks well spotted for motion, second off of a break. But Soundbite has a couple races. You saw the first 2 races, very, very good. And that race prior to the layoff back in August, it's a triple key race out at Horseshoe Indy. Horses came back to run 74, 72, 63 Buyer. The winner came back to win an allowance at Churchill Downs. This horse was a little bit, there's Philly yesterday, was a little bit high-headed. Tough to kind of settle through the backstretch run, made a little run in between horses. Was all in at the quarter pole and faded. Let's see if they kind of figured things out a little bit coming back to the main track. Maybe tweak some equipment, get her to relax a little bit more because she's going to have some speed to target. She looks like a closing type, certainly here at 6. I'm going to need a little bit of setup up front, but she holds some value for you at 6-1 morning line. Video spotlight, the 5, Alani, John Service. When they ship in here, they mean business. A good effort. A winning race yesterday, unfortunately, for his first-time starter.
Yes.
Mega Mill ran into the Phil Cap firster.
Yeah.
She ran big. But look at this race right here. We're going back to the 21st of October at Parks. Gets the lead, gets some pressure. He's going to have to duel it a little bit, but I tell you, is able to shake free. The unfortunate part, kind of ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw. Patty Brown, a horse coming in from New York and run some big races. I think it's Saratoga as well. But Alani is definitely going to use her speed to her advantage today. Service 6 for 23 the last 3 years on the Laurel Dirt. That's 26% with a 252 ROI. She gives away very grudgingly here the last 1/8 of a mile. She's into the race soon with Frankie Pennington comes down the ride, meaning business. The road, I believe, is going to go through her. She could take some heat from this 4, but she's going to be game. She's run some really good races.
No, absolutely. 7-5-4-2 for Keith Fustel there in race number 3. Race number 4, we get going on that Rainbow Pick 6, and we have a $7,700 carryover, I believe, coming into that beginning of the 4th race. Oh, right, almost on the money there. Ticket for you in a nice $21 $21.60 ticket. I single in race number 5 on the number 5 and B West. You could add Morning Thoughts and Fun Loving Criminal as well. You go an entirely different direction, Keith, which I think is interesting. We'll get into that into a second, but I kept it kind of slimmed down here. I think, how I'm not feeling as confident. I'm not saying I'm not feeling as confident, but I'm saying a couple of these races, a couple of them underneath the radar here. So just keep an eye out for our picks that we give you and the reasons that we do here. But $21.60 ticket there in that starter optional 12-5, going 5.5 here on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up scratch in the 10 Shanghai Warrior. Keith, you go with the number 2 on top.
Yes.
Here, Addie's Laddie TNT, Henry Walters, Matilda Burnham here, teaming up well for a win just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, jumps up against a little tougher group here today, no
Right.
doubt. Freshening did this one some good, was able to kind of make a move from just off the pace. He does not have the speed of some of these other horses in here. Icky Guy, Rad Paisley, Icing, Golden Arm. But you know what I think, looking at that most recent race, if he just moves up a little bit more for a barn, we've talked about Henry Walters, probably one of the best year or two that he's had in his training career on this Maryland circuit. But Addie's Laddie TNT hasn't been too far off of a horse like Rad Paisley. The setup is going to be there. If she can avoid any kind of, being boxed in at the 5/16 to the upper stretch, I think a comfortable flow, and she moves up inside and works a trip from the quarter pole home. Addie's Laddie TNT to rally into it at a 6-1 morning line.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about, just mentioning Rad Paisley that you have underneath Joanne Schenkel, Toledo. This one just got kind of dogged there in between horses in that starter handicap on Maryland Million Day.
That was a fierce pace, 22-245. Every right to get cooked a little bit and faded very late. But back to the 5.5, proven at this distance, can be thrust into the into that pace and stay around. This horse has kind of run with everybody for every trainer that's been with us. So I think Rad Paisley, yes, he's into the race early and stays to catch a piece. I'm just hoping things soften up enough for my horse to get over the top late.
What do you think of Dark Timber? Because that's where I kind of went, it was kind of the opposite of what we saw in the number 8 in Rad Paisley. This guy was in between horses and was able to really hanker down and kind of get that grittiness and that toughness all the way throughout the racetrack in these last couple of races.
Yeah, saw the horse of Nessa's yesterday kind of bounce, get to the front. I didn't quite see that horse getting lead. That was a Bella Patina race where Bella Patina came rolling down the center.
Yes, another key
center
you
of the
still
track
mentioned.
to get it done. But Dark Timber, interesting. Back figures. That always scares me with these Ness horses. So they start ramping back into form and they can reach that kind of number.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to work. Show the ability to handle the pressure. So again, I think this one, kind of like Addie's Laddie TNT, they could be very close to each other, leaving a 3/8 pole and make a run together against this group. Very dangerous Nest here over the last however many days. I mean, he's always good hitting the board, but now they're winning like in bunches. Have to use this horse into the mix. And Johnny French Fry. It just didn't, last time a little disappointing. I thought this horse would stay a little bit more. Kieran keeps this one in, maybe catches a piece.
Yeah, especially, and sorry, I didn't mention the late scratch in the number 7 pit stop man that we both had amongst our picks there for race number 4. Race number 5, we go to the starter optional 12-5, going a mile on the dirt. Also starts the late pick 5 as well. Scratches in the 10 and freestanding. Keith, you go with the number 6. He's on fire. I have this one, I believe, underneath on my picks. 20-1. Really great value here for Carlos Mencia with the weight off. Looking for win number 3 in a row.
Touch of a reach, maybe. It's a race I really, again, don't love. I think I got to spread around a little bit.
Same.
I think I'm going to use the 2 and the 6 as my main keys in here. Fun Loving Criminal ends up probably around 4-1 when it's all said and done. I don't know if I take much lower than that.
Right.
But he's on fire. It's just the way visually. The number 58 doesn't maybe do it justice. We're a little slower early. This guy at 20-1 last time behind, he beat Southern District, was rating behind those horses.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get a little bit, ass here at 3/8 and back up. No, just got closer in hand, and was just dragging the rider, worked through a seam. And, Southern District's a horse that's beaten these horses clearly. These similar types clearly in the past. Maybe Southern District isn't quite the same horse, but a barn that's rolling, Mancia, probably close to 30% over the last 30 days or so with a strong ROI. Speed in here. Running River. B West will be close. Morning Thoughts and Pudge Boy Palace, those last two I've talked about,
Right.
they got away with easier flows the last couple. That won't happen today. I just don't see unless a couple hiccups out of the gate. So you'll have a bit of a contested pace. I think B West has shown even at 7/8 he can make a pop move just off of it and keep on going because he was very handily winning 2 races back against similar at 7. I think he can go and extend to the mile, but he's on fire. I think can take another step up at that kind of number. You can't dismiss. Fun-loving criminals, that trusting type.
Right.
He's got a grinding style, able to save ground every step of the way. Not a big, huge push from the final 3/16, but enough of a churn to definitely beat this group today.
6251 for Keith Fusel there. In race number 5, we will be right back after this commercial break to talk about the rest of Saturday's card. Crank things up here for this second half of Saturday's ticket here. And an allowance optional 62.5 also starts that jackpot super high 5 that we have. Of course, also starts the late pick 4 as well. Again, 2-year-old fillies, allowance optional 62.5. We don't have any scratches here. No. Fun field that we have.
Good group.
Yeah, you and I both land. We've got a couple of returns from the Maryland Million Lassie, one of them being Malibu Hooch. Let's take a look at the Maryland Million Lassie, both of our top selections, Keith.
Yeah, and this is a really good race. This was a second time going 3/4, blitzed the field at Timonium in debut, and we thought, man, she could be any kind. A little fizzle, 2 races back, but puts it together here in a very impressive performance. 3 wide, tracking 22:45 in 3. Moves clear upper stretch, gets collared very late, but dead game to the wire is Malibu Hooch. So the versatility now. We saw her win on the front end at Timonium, being able to sit just off of it and make that run into that kind of flow. She should be very, very tough right back. Interesting move. This was not on the first set of PPs, but I did find again this morning. You got me yesterday. That helped me out with one. But the blinkers go on.
Sure.
Malibu Hooch. Stat for this. It's not a large sample. Interesting, though. I mean, she looked fine running there. 3 for 5, 4 for 5 in the money. First time blinks with the 2-year-olds, excluding the first-time starters. So we whittled it down. 448 ROI. Are there any fillies in here quicker early? Maybe. Christy, my love, kind of rode the wave of the racetrack 2 races back to get it done. I think, maybe the inside will go ahead and send. She's going to be forward and showing that rating gear. She's going to be tough. Anything close to that race in the Maryland Million, she should get it done. But one thing I wanted to point back about that video, guys, you got that video again? Can you run that back?
One thing I wanted to note too, they'll bring it back up. Go ahead, Keith.
Watch the 4-horse here on the inside that day. That's Onyx 10. That's the 2-horse this afternoon. We talked about the inside not being the best part. She makes a good run under a ride in a little bit of a quicksandy type of the part of the track, right? Works outward here and then back in. She's trying. I mean, she's got a shot here. And I think just fizzled. I'm going to use her as some value today as well, Onyx 10. That kind of number for Gary Cap with a 2-year-old.
Right, absolutely. When you were discussing the blinkers on with Malibu Hooch earlier, I think it was just it's really to kind of get this filly. You saw her at the top of the stretch there when the outside horse was kind of coming on to her. At that point, if you were watching her that whole length of the front end, she was just she really got too comfortable within herself on the front end. And I think it also helps that, yes, they will probably take that rating planned, but they want her maybe naturally just a little bit further up there, make it a little bit more easy work on Julio Hernandez. Talk about the number 9 on the outside. Christy, my love, Troy Singh. With the weight off here, Eric Fuentes, it's pretty straightforward what they're probably going to want out of this one here today.
Back to the main track. Had a beautifully clear trip 2 races back on a track that was taking you a long way up front. It was a speed favoring day on the 21st of September. Again, she's got an outer draw here. I think she'll be best to maybe try to go ahead and send and steal. That first 3/16 quarter of a mile is going to be critical for a couple of these runners if they can get position. The one thing that's proven is this favorite, top selection, Malibu Hooch, has been able to track. She's shown that ability. I do think the 2 is going to track as well. Got a little bit of a bobble at the break, too, in that Maryland maid. 6.297. Nick's Notion, like you got Robbie's horse in here at a big number. This horse could slip away 18, 20 to 1. But again, okay, turf back to dirt, trouble in its last 2. The 2-back win at a zillion to 1, 46 to 1. Closed in, beats 2 next out winners. One was dirt, one was turf. But the Brittany horse came back there on a 60. And carrying out that time, 5.5 to 3/4 for me. I kind of add a little 6.2. That works. Sneaky tight. The speed's going to be there. My dear Antonio, going to go. It's a sure thing. A lot of these horses chasing. I like your pick there. Underneath, maybe kind of user for Robbie at a big number.
I was just flip-flopping in between the 10 and the 7, and I think I originally had the 7 in third, and I think I might revert back to that. 6-2, 9-7 for Keith Fustel there in race number 6. Let's get to a maiden special weight here in race number 7. 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 2-year-old. Scratches in the 7, 8, and 9. You go with the number 10 on the outside. Bernie the Star, Troy Singh, Angel Cruz. Let's take a look at that effort from last time out in that first start.
Yeah, watch this start. This is tough. This is not good. A little slow break and giving up at least 2 lengths right off the bat to the 2 horse who breaks pretty quickly. Doesn't break quite on top, but is able to get the lead. But watch this move. You look in the internal, 22-246. He goes ahead and makes a move into that through the opening quarter after breaking last, okay, and then starts angling 4 wide. All right. He's trying to wait and make the move, right, and time it. It was just too much to overcome, I thought, when all things were said and done. One-man team is on the lead. That's a Brittany Firster, just nursed along and responds, is going to open up and win by 6. This guy shows a lot of grit all the way till about, I'd say, just past the 8th pole and fades ever so slightly, okay, the last 16th. We get a good break looking at who's inside. I think Cruz can nurse and pop clear. Now, we're going to have to hold off the closers. Your 5-horse Daring Venture is going to be awfully tough. But I think Bernie the Star, that kind of number, certainly works to me. Second time out here at Samraj Singh, Angel Cruz. Daring Venture, okay, a good debut. Was a little fractious, reluctant to load. Keys up. Amy's Music, who beats it, keys up with another horse in here that I was looking at. Des Smart is now out. But anyhow, keys up against the right kind. Stat for Brittany, it's always good for the most part. Here it is. 8 for 16, 50%, 13 to 16 to the money. 2-year-olds, second out, maiden special weight category, 248. A couple firsters in here that are definitely worth mentioning. The 2 Yara's Quest. Jorge Duarte, Liam's Map. It's with about 9% of the 2-year-old firsters. 5 winning siblings, including a 13-time winner. Multiple greatest stakes placed horse in the family. Moon Swag has had a debut winner. 3 of 5 have hit the board. The 1, Change My World for Mary Epler. This is old school working here. I like it. Lots of 5/8 trying to get this horse ready to rock and roll. By World of Trouble, 11% with the 2-year-old firster. 7 winning sibs, including Purely Hot. She was really good dirt. She can run on the synthetic. T-Sizzle, Steamy Hot, another one that was good. 2 for 9 with the debut runner. They go get Ruiz. I like that. Inside post worries me a little bit, but man, a lot of good, steady 5/8 drill. The stamina should be there, but I think Bernie the Star going to use that speed to his advantage today if he breaks cleanly.
There we go. Love it. 10-5 at 2-1. Keith Fustel, race 7, race number 8. Let's move forward here in this restricted allowance, going a mile on the dirt here for the girls 3 and up. Scratching the 8, call another play. You go with the number 2, Isabella's Glory. Darwin Rodriguez stays on here. Tried this level last time out. Bit of a wide trip. Going to give it another shot.
Yeah, this is another race. It's kind of got me head scratching. I was against call another play because I thought she was going to get bet down a little bit. She let me down last time. But, yeah, Isabella's Glory, she was flat, but they don't drop her. So I like that. You look back, she paired up. Well, actually, she had like 3 or 4 really good races in a row. Maybe it was time for her to just kind of come up a little empty, and she did. She likes the mile distance. She's proven here. She's got a little bit more positional speed than she definitely showed last time. Take a shot. This is a like, not a love. I think I'm just going to go ahead and box these top 3 and then use them a little bit. A cover the spread does scare me. Lovely Charm, Feeling So Lucky. I think Feeling So Lucky could be speed. Off a little bit slow last time out, into an okay flow. There's not a lot of pure speed. Claimed amidst very good form right now for Gina Perry, capable first-timer in this barn. We've seen the stats. And yes, off the claim, not the greatest. This horse should run well today. And Lovely Charm, I think, is another one. Against this group, should be forwardly placed and grind it out at the mile distance. This is a tricky race. Grab a hold of somebody that's maybe like
yeah.
4 or 5, 6 to 1, and go ahead and key that way.
No, I like the way to play that there. 2, 3, 1, 5 for Keith Fusel there in race number 8, and we get to our finale here of the Saturday card here at the lovely Laurel Park here in this maiden claiming 12.5, 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. No scratches here. You go with Mr. Pesse, Diane Marici, Xavier Perez stays on the rail here as a couple entry.
Always dreaming. He doesn't like the world on fire with his first-time starters, but he's a little bit better when they make their start later. 3 and up, he's 9%. So I'm going to give him that. So we've got some interesting, really quick works over this racetrack. Late to the race as a 4-year-old, trying to find a softer spot. Maybe they have. I definitely think if Stormy Hollow brings back that last race, he's going to be certainly tough to beat. But you dig a little bit into this family, there's some good sprinters amongst them. So I'm taking a little shot. I know this barn's been a little chilly with firsters, but you might get a little bit better price here with the one, Mr. Pesci with the X-Man. The other part of the entry isn't awful in this group. But let's take a look at Stormy Hollow's last race. It was the second start of his career, and what a nice improvement. A little green, went off slow in debut. Second out, goes ahead and is into the race a lot better second time out. Going to kind of move up into this flow and force the issue, right? Used about 4 wide to get into contention. 22-4, 46 flat, these internals. Now, bold talk, that's a Marici runner. It's going to go ahead and separate. So Stormy Hollow, you think, man, he's done a lot of the dirty work. He's going to go ahead and fade away. He keeps on. I thought he was pretty willing through that last 3/16 of a mile. Is 5 clear of his next closest competition. Let's get to that right late. I don't know if we're going to do it. But anyhow, third time certainly could be the charm for this Damon runner for Stormy Stable, Dark Hollow Farm.
There we go. And 1, 5, 4, 6. Anything to add
yes.
on? Yeah.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Two shots at prices if you're looking to get late in the day. We got to try to get out. I like the old get out horses. The 400 proof, freshened up, close to 6, 7, 8 months, but flashed a little bit of closing ability in debut. Second time for this barn of Claceris. You've got Matilda Burnham in light. There's going to be some speed going on. There's going to be some chasing. Not maybe a ton of finishers. This could be one of them. And the 6, Lucked In. There's the Cordmaker family trying dirt for the first time. Toledo stays, right, Callie?
Toledo
stays. That's enough for me at 20 to 1 more. There's your kind of really long shots to use in the mix.
There we go. Keith giving us an out at the end of the day. 1, 5, 4, 6 there in the finale. Keith, let's dive into those picks a little bit more. You give us 2 value plays here. First one, an official first one, is in race number 6 on the number 2. 8 to 1, Onyx 10, Gary Capuano, Andreas Chavez.
Talked about being against the grain. Bobbled at the break in that Maryland Million race. Malibu Hooch, certainly the horse to beat. Exactus tries and super that 8 to 1. I like that price for Gary Cap with a 2-year-old.
Bernie the Star going to try and hold on to that speed there in race number 7 on the outside, and number 10 at 12 to 1 for Troy Singh and Angel Cruz.
We just get a better break. Walked out of the gate last time. Tice tried to reserve a little bit, made that 4 wide move. It was just too much. Sharp break today. Speed will be tough for Bernie the Star. I like that number too, 12 to 1.
Let's talk about not an insurgent, but a ship-in, a new ship-in on the breeding base here for Maryland, and a homebred from Twin Creeks Farm. Of course, Warrant was in Pennsylvania prior to that, but now he's coming into Maryland for 2024. Hit the board 15 of 19 career starts, amassing an earnings of $1.1 million. Stakes winners at distances ranging of a mile 16th to a mile and a half. At 3, won the Oklahoma Derby, grade 3 at Remington Park, the Texas Derby at Lone Star Park, and then at 4 on board in all 4 stakes, all graded, including a second in the Santa Anita Handicap in that grade 1. And then the final season at 5, he had a victory in the Isaac Murphy Marathon Stakes over at Churchill Down. Covered a state leading 49 mares last year, and then his first foals are coming to spring, and he's a half to a Barbara Fritchie Stakes winner, Miss Locust Point as well.
Okay, yeah. She was fast, right? That was Was that service, Miss Locust Point?
Oh.
I don't know.
I'll
I'll have to double check.
I'm gonna come
I
back
could
to
be
you on
wrong.
that
I'm
one.
usually wrong, but yeah. But
No.
all right. Welcome, Warrant,
Yeah.
here to the Stallion register here. In
Yeah,
Maryland.
Stallion
Yes.
roster. There we go.
Right?
Roster.
Yeah, whatever.
Maryland
Okay.
roster. Let's go. Let's go to the Maryland talent roster, shall we? Let's
Okay.
go to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches here for the rest of Saturday's card.
All right. Good luck.